Oh, yeah. Cool. I'll turn it back off. So. Oh, it's not going off. Maybe we'll just have to keep it on. Okay. I know. Shall I say hello to anyone? Where's the... How do I do it? Yeah. Is it that? No. Okay, I was just going to say. Is that it? It's not paused, is it? That's fine. Cool. Let's start that. Hello. Hi. Thanks for joining. Hope you've got your homes nice and cozy and you've made a nice bit of space to practice in. And thanks for joining me as well. I wanted to try and interact with you on screen, I'm not sure any of you, whether you said hello, but I couldn't find the link to chat, but hi. We're actually going to start seated. So if you've got a blanket or a cushion that you'd prefer to sit on, then you can just grab that now, just to place underneath the sit bones, especially if you find cross-legged a little bit uncomfortable, or just help to soften the hips a little bit. But by all means, if cross-legged isn't comfortable for you, then you can extend the legs out long or come to kneeling. So we're just gonna take the hands to rest on the knees or on the thighs. And if you haven't already, see if you can close your eyes. You might just turn your palms to face the sky, just to invite this sense of space and opening, almost letting in. And with the eyes closed, you might just start to notice what you can feel, what you can sense around you. So our senses being this gateway for all of this information to enter in. So noticing what you can hear, what you might be able to smell, what you might be able to taste. You might be able to feel through your skin. So the biggest organ, the skin. Notice the temperature of your room against your skin. Notice any clothes you might feel against the skin. And notice the ground beneath you. Notice how the ground is there just to support you. And you can rest into it. And we can use all of our senses, all of what we feel around us, to bring us to where we are right now, to the room, to the space, to your mat. Fully arriving, being fully present, knowing that this is exactly where you're meant to be right now. Your body is here, there's nowhere else you need to be. And once you feel that you've arrived in this space on your mat, you might just start to bring your attention to what you feel inside. So noticing any sensations within the physical body. Noticing perhaps the temperature of your body inside. Maybe bring an awareness to the breath. And just noticing the breath as it travels off into all of these different directions. Where does it go? And what comes with it? What might your breath bring into the body? Perhaps space, perhaps a little warmth, perhaps energy, vital life force. Perhaps just feeling into that gentle movement as you breathe, that in and out flow, that constant flow, the cycle of breath that mirrors every other cycle in nature. This constant evolving, changing, fluid, moving. Nothing is ever permanent, nothing ever stays the same. Just like the breath, that in and out flow. And just notice how easy it feels to breathe and how effortless the movements feel as you breathe. And just allow those movements to guide you into this deeper place of ease. And if you haven't already and you're familiar with Ujjayi breath, yogic breath, ocean breath, you might start to find that now. So in and out breath through the nose, with that slight contraction through the back of the throat as you exhale that mirrors the sound of the ocean. It sounds like the ocean, those waves just building up and then crashing down. And just connecting to that sound. And Ujjayi breath is a really nice way just to warm the body from the inside out. So generating a little bit of heat. And just allowing the breath, Ujjayi breath, to travel that heat around the body. And we're going to bring the palms together at the heart. So Anjali Mudra, palms together at the heart. I'm going to take a nice big breath in. And then as you exhale, softly let your chin melt towards your chest. So the back of the neck is long. Keeping the eyes closed, you might just use this time to set an intention for your practice. So it might just be simple, perhaps just to stay with the breath, move with the breath. Or it might be a little bit something more personal to you. How might you like to feel at the end of your practice today? What might you like to invite in? And just take a moment for your intention to settle, sink in. And we're going to take another nice big breath in, and you might even feel your chest reach out towards your thumbs a little. And then again, a sigh out through the mouth, perhaps a little bit stronger this time. The head might release a little bit more towards the chest, almost as if we're just sealing our intention in now, holding on to it. And then slowly blinking your eyes open and take a while just for your eyes to adjust to that light, let it in. We're going to bring ourselves just to bring the soles of the feet to the mat. So they're about hip distance. And from here, start to extend your arms out in front of you. And on the inhale, sweep your arms all the way up towards the sky. Reach the fingertips high. And as you exhale, start to lower. As you point your fingertips forwards, start to find a little bit of heat through the belly. And we're just going to stop and hold halfway. Then using your next inhale to lift back up, sweeping fingertips high. On an exhale, we'll melt back down, fingertips forwards. Just taking that 2 more times. So inhale, lifting up. Exhale, releasing down. And you might be moving a little bit slower than how I'm guiding you. So moving with your breath, finding your rhythm of breath. On your next exhale, once you've lowered halfway, see if you can hold there. Just holding for 2 or 3 rounds of breath. You might even already start to notice a little bit of heat build within the belly. And again, focusing back to the breath as you hold here. Use the breath just to generate the warmth through the belly, throughout the limbs, the hips, the fingers, the toes. I'm going to take 1 more breath in here. Hold. And as you exhale, lower all the way down to the ground, reach your arms back behind you and extend your legs out in front of you. So pointing your fingers and toes in different directions. Take a nice big breath in to feel that stretch. And as you exhale, squeeze your right knee in towards your body. Left leg can be extended, or if this feels a little bit too much, then just bend your left knee, bring the sole of the foot to the ground. And then softening through the shoulders, releasing through the spine. Send your breath up into the chest. And then as you exhale, almost as if your breath is releasing out through your right hip, and that stretch, that shape we're making might just soften, maybe even deepen. I'm going to take the next breath in the same way. Relaxing the face. And then from here, starting to activate a little. So we're going to hover the left leg, the left heel, just 1 inch or so away from the ground. And this might be where we stay. Or we might extend the arms out in front of us, press the lower back into the ground, switch on the belly, and then lift the head, lift the shoulders. So everything's lifted apart from the lower back, if we're taking that option. And we're going to take a breath in to hold. Now we're just going to change legs. So bringing the left leg in on an exhale and extending the right leg out. Hold here for your breath in. Exhale to change. So we always find that pause on a breath in and then that change on an exhale. And just go for a few more rounds of these with the breath. Really nice. Next time your left leg comes in towards you, find that softness again, that ease. Release your right leg. Breathe up into the heart, into the chest. And as you exhale, left leg softly melts towards the body. Relax the shoulders, let go of the hips. And then bringing your right knee in towards you. You might squeeze up into a nice tight little ball here, lifting your head, your shoulders, your tailbone, and squeeze super tight. And then release the head. Bring your hands behind your knees and take as many rolls through the length of the spine that feels good. You might just take 1, or you might just continue rolling forwards and backwards a few times. And then from here, crossing at the ankles and coming back to our seated position. And we're going to bring hands onto we're going to take a hold of opposite shoulders. So you can bring your hands, almost as if you're giving yourself this hug, this warm embrace. And then we're just going to, with the breath, take a few circles. So moving towards the left knee, breathing in, moving towards the front. And then as you exhale towards your right leg and back, draw the belly in, draw the chin to chest. And just circling through the hips, rolling in these circles, side to side, forwards and back. Again, nice and slow, let your breath guide you. So the hips that we're just releasing into here are the home of the water element within the body. And sometimes they can get quite stiff, quite stuck, almost as if that water becomes a little bit stagnant. So we're just finding some releasing spirals just to release any buildup. So if we do get that stiffness, it can almost leave us feeling quite stuck or unmotivated mentally. Just releasing into the hips, freeing up, both mentally, physically. And then we're going to move in the other direction. So moving in these circles, you might change the cross of your elbows here. So bring the opposite hand on top. With the breath, we'll just go for one more here. And then coming back to center, release your hands behind you. Again, we're going to bring the soles of the feet to the mat, about hip distance. Fingertips point towards you, or you can bring them on this slight angle if that doesn't feel right for the wrists. I'm going to spread the fingers wide, activate through the arms, roll the shoulder blades back as if they're trying to meet behind you, lift the chest. And we might hold here, or we can find our reverse tabletop pose. So lifting the hips up towards the sky. And finding once more this balance between softness and ease. So we find this openness, almost this lightness through the front body. The back body, we're activating through the glutes, lifting through the hips and pelvis as if the body, the front body, is trying to meet the sky above, really reaching into that space. I'm going to take one more breath in to hold. Can we lift a millimeter higher? And then as you exhale, release all the way down. Either cross at the ankles or bring feet to one side. We'll find our tabletop pose. From here, releasing your hips back towards your heels and just dropping into a child's pose just for a moment. And maybe you keep things fluid, moving, just by taking a little roll of the hips. Or maybe a roll of the head against the ground. And if your forehead doesn't reach the ground, then just make a little pile with your forearms or hands for your forehead to rest on. So the idea of your child's pose is for ease and rest. So try not to hold on to the neck or head. On your next inhale, we're going to come up to all fours. And come as far forwards as you can. So shoulders are going to be further forwards than your wrists. And then as you exhale, bend into the elbows, lower down to the ground with control. Finding a Sphinx pose as you slide your fingers forwards, elbows underneath shoulders. Find this drawing in of the lower rib cage. Slight tuck of the chin to the chest so the back of the neck stays long, no crinkling. I'm going to take another breath in. Can we invite breath, life, warmth, energy into the heart? And then as we exhale, release. Let your forehead lower. Hands slide underneath shoulders, tuck the toes. Inhale, lift up to all fours. As you exhale, lift the hips up and back into your down dog. And once you get there, just play around. Find any intuitive movement here. Maybe a roll of the head, roll of the hips. Walking out the dog, perhaps bending into one knee at a time, or perhaps both. So if the lower back feels tight, bend the knees, but keep pushing the hips up towards the sky. Maybe we take a sigh out through the mouth, or maybe even a lion's breath. So a big breath in through the nose. And then as you exhale, a stick out of the tongue and you can roar the breath out. Take as many of those as feels good. Just finding a little bit of life, a little bit of movement in the body. And then starting to lift your hips, lift your heels as high as you can. And as you exhale, drop both heels to point towards the right side of your mat. And then bend your knees so much that your hips reach back towards your right heel. On an inhale, come back to center, lift the hips, lift the heels. And then as you exhale to the left, hips reach back towards left heel. Inhale, center. We're going to take that once more on both sides. So exhale to the right. As much as you can, bending into those knees. Notice that opening through left side. And then coming back to center, once more to the left. Inhale, center. This time, bend the knees, send your hips back to heels, look forwards. Take another breath in, and as you exhale, step or lightly jump the feet through to the front of your mat, coming into a halfway lift. So your hands might rise up towards shins, or just somewhere, so that your spine can lengthen, legs can activate, your body is parallel to the ground. Notice the weight in the feet. Notice whether you might be able to bring a little bit more weight forwards towards the balls of your feet, and notice your legs activate. I'm going to take another breath in to hold, and as you exhale, melt all the way down towards the ground. And just to warm up the legs, you might just use fingertips and thumbs to massage into the calves, the hamstrings. Or if you're feeling really quite tight there, then you make little fists with your hands and really lightly, gently tap the legs, tap the calves, maybe up into the glutes, into the lower back. Just finding that warmth from the inside out. And then releasing. Let your arms lengthen, legs bend, and take this slow roll to come all the way up to standing. Head can stay heavy, shoulders relaxed, rolling up one vertebra at a time. Slower than almost feels natural, so just encouraging this slowness, this ease. Bodies are often programmed to move a little bit faster than we would like. So soon if we can program a little bit of slowness back in. And then finding your strong, tall, standing pose once you get all the way up to the top. Feet might be together or feet might be hip distance. So notice where you feel more rooted, stronger. And then see if you can lift up from the arches of the feet. Activate, crown of the head reaches up towards sky, space, and beyond. I'm going to take an inhale to sweep the arms up towards the sky, maybe even a little back bend, hips forwards, heart up. Exhale to release down, forward fold, chin to chest. On an inhale, lift up halfway. And as you exhale, step both feet back, finding a plank pose. So we might be on our knees or we might be on our toes. So two options here. Again, on an inhale, roll forwards, lower all the way down to the ground as you exhale, either coming back into your Sphinx pose or you can find a low cobra, so lifting the chest, squeezing the elbows in. Exhale to lower, drop the head. Tuck the toes, lift up, either all fours or perhaps plank. Exhale, hips lift up and back, down dog. Bend the knees, look forwards, big breath in. Exhale, step or lightly jump the feet through. Again, halfway lift here. Exhale, release down, forward fold. This time, look just ahead. Sweep arms forwards and up, reach for the sky. Again, another option here, maybe a heart opener. Exhale, straight back into our fold, chin to chest. Inhale, halfway. Exhale, step or lightly jump back into your plank pose, and we can repeat as we did before, or you can come through any other vinyasa that you might be working with or you might like to invite into your practice today. So moving with your breath and finding your own way to flow. So the word vinyasa means to move or to place in a special way, in your unique way. So you move in a way that aligns with your energy and how you feel today. From your down dog, on an inhale, sweep your right leg up towards the sky, bend your right knee, stack and open your hips so your right knee points towards the sky and your right toes point towards your left glute. Breathe into the hips. On your next inhale, square your hips off, send your right leg up and back. And on an exhale, come forward, squeezing your right knee towards your right elbow. Inhale, lifts the leg up and back. Come forward and on an exhale, this time squeeze your knee towards your left elbow. Inhale, lifts the leg up and back. Exhale, knee to nose. See if you can hold there and hover. So we're going to hold for another breath. And you might be able to lift the back of the heart space a little bit higher. With that space, step the foot all the way down in between the hands and drop your left knee. Right ankle underneath the right knee. And on an inhale, sweep the arms forwards and up, reach for the sky. As you exhale, you can squeeze your elbows in towards your rib cage, active through the hands and fingers, so palms face forwards. Inhale, sweeps the arms up and back. Exhale to release. I'm going to go for 2 more of those with your breath, really active through the legs, as if your inner thighs are almost magnetized towards one another here. Hips are strong. Next, exhale. Just release halfway. Then extend your arms out. On an inhale, you might be able to reach your arms slightly further back behind you. And then as you exhale, cross your left arm over your right arm. So we're just going to take that hug of the shoulders again here. Or maybe we take eagle arms so we can bring the backs of the hands or the palms together. Maybe we hold here. Or we might take a little back bend so you can keep drawing the lower rib cage in. Sending the tailbone down, keep the lower back long, but find a lift of the heart, lift of the elbows. And keep breathing here, so don't let this shape compromise your breath. Stay with your breath. On an inhale, come back to center. Sweep your arms up towards the sky. And as you exhale, release your hands and find your all fours or plank. And again, come through your flow here. So you might take the body all the way down, find a little back bend, or you might be warm enough to find chaturanga, coming into up dog, and then lifting the hips up and back into your down dog. So we're going to find that on the other side. So on an inhale, lifting the left leg up towards the sky. And then bend in the left knee so you can stack and open the hips. Reaching your left knee towards the sky. Keep pressing the ground away. Send your hips high. Square your hips off. Breathe in. And as you exhale, come forward, squeezing knee to left elbow. Rounding through the upper back. Inhale, lifts the leg up and back. Taking that little twist towards the right elbow. Inhale, lifts the leg up and back. And as you exhale, squeeze your knee to nose. Keep holding that. Pressing in and out of your palms. Lifting the space between shoulder blades. And then as light as you can, stepping your left foot down. Don't worry if it doesn't get there straight off, so you can use your hand or wriggle the toes for it to land where you need it. And then ankle is underneath your knee. Once you're there, sweeping the arms forwards and up. Reach for the sky. And as you exhale, take that squeeze of the elbows in. Strong through the legs here. With your breath. Find your breath to flow with. Notice how your arms help you move. Go for 2 more here. Notice how your shoulder blades roll down the back of the rib cage as you exhale. Next exhale, just lowering halfway. Reach the arms out long. Take an inhale, chest forwards, arms back. And as you exhale, right arm crosses over left arm. We can be here, or we can be here. So backs of the hands, maybe the palms together. And if we're just holding as we are, really noticing that space again, through the shoulder blades, through the back of the heart space. Or maybe we open up through the front of the heart, coming back into that back bend, that heart opener. Send hips forwards, heart up. Elbows reach towards the sky. Breathe here. Next inhale brings us up. Sweep your arms up towards the sky. Release hands down as you exhale. Find plank pose or all fours. And again, come through a vinyasa here. Or skip it. You can find down dog or perhaps a child's pose. So your practice. Find what aligns with you, what serves you. If you're flowing, use this as an opportunity to slow the breath back down. So we can move with the breath. Let the breath guide each movement. Also listening to any sensations once more within the physical body. The sensations is your body's language. In our yoga practice, we can get to learn and read and listen to that language. Notice what the body tries to say. From down dog, we're going to bend the knees, look forwards, and on an exhale, step or lightly jump the feet through. Again, here, finding your halfway lift. Exhale melts us down into a forward fold. Option to come back into a ragdoll fold, so you might take a hold of opposite elbows and find a soft bend in the knees. Or you can work a little bit more dynamically with the breath. You might take your 2 peace fingers, wrap them around your 2 big toes. So remembering this is a stretch for the spine over the legs, so the knees can be as bent as they need to be. And if you are working with that more dynamic option, activate, energize through the legs, the spine, the core. Use the grip of the fingers and toes, use the breath to find your fold. If you've got any room in the elbows can start to point towards the sides. And even if we're in that softer ragdoll fold here, start to tuck your chin towards your chest, and your neck becomes this nice long extension of your spine. Folds are really nice for boosting the immune system, finding that nice inner massage for organs. So notice again where your breath goes here. And then whatever you're holding on to, gently release and let go. Sweep your arms forwards and up, reach for the sky. And as you exhale, bring your hands to your heart. Hands can be back to Anjali Mudra, palms together, fingertips together. Or you can find this softer mudra. So we find this little gap between the hands, between the fingers. Fingertips together, bottom of the hands together. And then as if we're just holding something towards the heart. Close the eyes. And maybe we use this time to come back to breath. Perhaps we come back to our intention. Perhaps we just begin to notice any warmth we've started to build within our practice today. And then blinking the eyes open. Using inhale, sweep the arms up. As you exhale, release down into your forward fold. Halfway lift on a breath in. Again, knees might bend here. Release your fingertips to the ground. And we're going to step the right leg back. So we're aiming for the right leg to be in line with or no higher than the right hip. And your right leg is just as active as your left leg. So we're pointing the right heel back, flexing that foot so the toes point back towards the shin. So energy through both legs. Then activate through your core a little. You might come up onto your fingertips, lifting the thumbs. You might even try to hover the fingers. Or you might bring one hand to the heart, back to Anjali Mudra, maybe both hands to the heart, finding variation of Warrior 3. And then from here, embrace any wobbles. Step your right toes back and drop your right heel. So we're finding Warrior 1. Hips are turning towards the front of the mat. Sweep on an inhale, arms up towards the sky. And then as you exhale, really strong through the legs. Try not to let them move too much. We're going to sweep the body forwards and the arms back as if we're about to take off. If we want a little bit more power for the upper back, we might reach the arms a little bit higher. On an inhale, sweep the arms up towards the sky. Exhale to reach forwards, arms back. Going to take that a few more times with the breath. If you want a little bit more power through the legs, come onto your right tiptoe, so lifting your right heel away from the ground. Inhale to lift up. Exhale forwards. Again, find your breath to flow with here, your rhythm. Next time you come forwards on an exhale, holding that. So again, we might stay here, or you might lift that leg completely, coming back into your Warrior 3. So you can keep the arms extending back. You can bring the hands back to the heart, or you might extend the arms out in front of you. So just find an adristi, perhaps a non-moving spot to focus on here. Again, strong through both legs. And super slowly, left knee bends. And bring your right knee all the way in towards you. So we're going to give the right leg a little squeeze, a little hug. Interlace the fingers around the right shin. We might stay here, or we might reach the arms up towards the sky, almost as if you're pulling your right knee with your arms a little higher. Leg can stay bent, or you might extend the leg out in front of you. Again, point the toes back. And from here, bend your right knee and cross your right leg over your left leg. Arms can come out. So right leg is crossed over, preparing for our eagle pose. So we might keep the right toes to the ground. We might hover. We might tuck. So right leg is over, left arm is going to come over. So opposite arm on top. Coming back to either holding onto shoulders, or you can take the backs of the hands, or maybe the palms together. Eagle pose. Really nice for aligning all of the 7 chakras, all of the 7 energy centers through the center, and also finding a little bit of balance between left and right side. We might stay here, or you might start to drop your elbows towards your right thigh. Stay with the breath and keep squeezing everything together. Everything works together here for balance. Even the gaze, we stay with that drishti. If you lowered, we're going to start to lift up. Unlock your arms, take a breath in. Again, right knee comes back up. Maybe we extend the leg. Then as you exhale, step all the way back, this time into a high crescent lunge. So staying on your right tiptoes, sweep the arms up, breathe in. Exhale, release the hands, step your left foot back to a plank pose. And again, option to come through a vinyasa here, a flow, or maybe you just find a pause, a break in down dog or child's pose. Again, an option to come back to the breath. Perhaps we even close the eyes, even as we flow. Tune into sensations, the body's language once more, once again. Once we're in down dog, we're going to lift the hips, lift the heels. And just like at the start, drop heels to the right, bend the knees, send your hips back towards your right heel. Inhale, center, lift the hips, lift the heels. Exhale to the left, bend knees, hips to heels. Once more on both sides with the breath, take your time. Feel into each shape, each transition. Feel. And then find center, hips high, heels high. Bend the knees, take another big breath in. Exhale, step or lightly jump the feet to the top. Halfway lift once you're there. Exhale, lowers us down, forward fold, chin to chest. I'm going to take that slow roll to come up to standing. So we're going to bend into the knees, soften into the spine, soften into the shoulders. And then once you're there, reach your arms all the way up towards the sky. Take a hold of your right wrist with your left hand. Grow a little bit taller, breath in, and as you exhale, tilt to the left. Inhale, center, take a hold of left wrist. Exhale, tilt to the right. Inhale, center. Exhale, release down, forward fold, chin to chest. Halfway lift on a breath in. Balance out the weight in your feet. Try not to collapse into heels. Keep that weight balanced as you release fingertips down. Again, knees might bend here. And this time we're going to send the left leg back. So left leg goes back. Left heel reaches back. You might come onto the fingertips, lift the thumbs. Maybe you hover, just hovering away from the mat. Know that the ground is there if you need it. Or you might try bringing one hand to the heart. Maybe both. And then right knee bends, stepping left toes, drop left heel. You can take a look back at your left heel. And you want it on this 45-degree angle, just so that you can square your hips off again. Hips turn towards the front of the mat, they're closed here. And then on an inhale, sweep the arms up towards the sky, warrior one. Exhale, arms back, chest, heart forward. Finding your breath to flow with again here. And notice the strength in the legs. So as we move, this movement comes from the hips up. Notice that power beneath you, strength through the legs, your foundation, your roots, your anchor to the ground. Really quite important to feel into that support there. So that we can find this softness and ease through the upper body. Always working with balance. Next time you exhale, holding again, you might be on your left heel away from onto the left tiptoes. Arms might lift a little higher. Maybe we stay here, or again, perhaps we find our warrior. So sending that left leg back, crown of the head forward. Arms can stay back, forwards, or in front of the heart. Strong through both legs. And then right knee bends, bringing left knee all the way in towards you. You can give the leg a little hug, a little squeeze as you just start to find your balance on your right leg. Or you might, again, as if you're pulling that knee a little higher with these invisible strings, lift the arms up towards the sky. Hold in here, or maybe we extend the leg. And then crossing left leg over right leg. Back to your balance, and notice whether you need a little bit more support today with those toes staying to the ground. And that's fine. It might change day to day, depending on energy, how we feel. We might hover, we might tuck. So right arm's going to come on top this time. We might give ourselves that little hug. We might take a variation of eagle arms. And we find this drawing in of the ribs, lowering, pointing down of the tailbone. And maybe we squeeze legs, squeeze arms, and start to draw the elbows to thigh. Drop the hips a little lower. Strong breath here. Another pose that's really nice for the immune system. We're still finding that most twist of the whole body. And then starting to unravel. Lift up the leg, lift up the arms, hold in here, or sending the leg out long. Breathe in. Exhale, release the arms, release the leg. Stepping back into your high crescent lunge. So lifting arms, take a breath in. And one last chance for our flow of Vinyasa here, stepping right toes back and taking your flow or taking your pause, taking your break. Moving with breath. Once we get into down dog, I'm going to bend the knees this time. So release the knees all the way down. Untuck toes and drop back down, finding a child's pose. Release the head, release the shoulders. Soften through the length of your spine. Let it go. Really nice. From your child's pose, start to roll up. You might walk your hands towards your knees just to help to press you up. Try to let the head stay quite soft. Relax through the neck. Chin might still be towards the chest. And just making sure that your knees are in line with your hips. Little gap between the thighs. And then lifting up. So we're just going to lift up. If your knees are sore, you might take a blanket, or especially if you are on a wooden floor, you might even just roll or double up your mat just to find a little bit of extra padding to rest your knees on. And then from here, extend your arms out in front of you, and we can take Kali Mudra, so this quite fierce, strong mudra, pointing index finger towards the sky, but we're interlacing all of the others. And then again, we find that real activation. Belly draws in and up towards the spine. Lower rib cage draws in. And we're almost trying to flatten this curve in the lower back. We're going to take a breath in. And as you exhale, start to lean back just halfway. You'll notice the whole of the front engage, even the thighs. Inhale to come forward. Exhale to come back. With the breath here, we'll go for 2 more. Strong through the belly. 1 more. Next time you exhale and come back, can you hold for 3 breaths? You might find a little shake through the body. As long as you feel safe, hold there. You might even decide to come a little bit further back with each new exhale breath. Feeling into that warmth, that strength, that heat. On an inhale, come all the way back to center. Release your arms. Then bring your hands to your lower back. You might have the toes tucked here. Find that same activation. So try not to lose control of the belly. The belly is going to support the spine. As we start to send the hips forwards, lift the heart. You can use the hands just to help keep that lower back long. Camel pose. We might stay here. The chin might stay towards the chest just to find that control through the neck. Or if you're quite familiar with this pose, or you feel a little bit warmer, maybe a little bit more open, bring hands to heels. Keep lifting the heart, lifting the hips. You might still be holding onto the head, or if the neck allows, you can let go and find this opening into the neck, into the throat. Let's release through the throat chakra. Again, breath is your main priority here, so don't let the shape compromise breath. Stay with breath. If you took your hands to your heels, gently bringing your hands back to your lower spine, and then slowly come out. If you rolled your mat up, you can start to unravel it, send it forwards. And then we'll take this traditional child's pose. So you can bring your knees together and let your arms rest by your side. Palms face the sky. Let everything roll forwards. Finding now that space through the back. Very often when we think of the heart space, we think of the front. But to open into the back of the heart is just as important. So taking a few breaths into the back of the heart. Almost taking that front heart opener, that back bend, taking a moment just to let it settle. Noticing how it feels just to leave the pose. They can be quite energizing, so you might notice a change in energy. Sometimes they can just be quite freeing and releasing. And then we're going to roll up. So again, just rolling up one vertebra at a time if you can. Let the head stay quite heavy. Rolling through the spine. And then bringing your feet to one side. Soles of the feet to the mat. Extend the arms. Take a breath in. Sweep the arms up towards the sky. Find length through spine. And as you exhale, start to lower all the way down to the ground. Once you get down, you can extend your arms out in front of, out behind you, your legs out in front of you. Taking that full body stretch once more here. Point fingers, point toes, breathe in. Soften as you exhale, and we're going to bring the right knee once more back in towards the body. Just as we started, softening into spine, softening into hips. If you need to, like mine, I feel my lower back is just a little bit arched. I want it to be a bit flatter. You might press into the feet, lower the lower back, body, and then bring your right knee back in. Noticing any differences as we revisit this shape. Now we're going to find that energy again. So activate through left side. We can point the left toes back and use whatever core strength we've found within today's practice to activate through the belly. I'm going to bring left hand to left hip bone and notice that energy. Keep it there. As you start to just, you with your right hand, guide your knee out to the right. And the reason that we've activated through the body, especially left side, is so that we don't roll away from the ground. And if you do notice you start to roll, just know that you might have found your edge in this opening. You might just come back a little, just so that we don't roll the left side body away. We want to keep that side rooted. Your hand can help to just press your hip down. You might be here, or you might even take your hand to the outside of foot, or maybe peace fingers around right toe. The leg doesn't have to straighten completely, but you might just open out and find a little bit of length there. Again, keeping left side body grounded. And then coming back to center. And changing sides. So left hand can come to right knee or shin. Right arm extends out. Fill your chest with breath. Take a big breath in. And as you exhale, taking a twist to the left so you can guide the leg across the body to the left. And then maybe a roll of the head towards the right shoulder. And just softening into this twist a little. Notice even how your left hand makes contact with your right thigh. And try not to force or grip the leg too tight. Every cell in our body responds to touch. So try to keep that soft. No forcing, no hardness or hard edges, if that makes sense. Notice what you might be able to let go of. If you're still holding on to the glutes or the shoulders, see if you can soften. As we come into spring, it's thought that the liver becomes the most active of all of the organs. So you might just use this time to breathe a little bit of space through the right side, home of the liver. Just to send a little bit of oxygen there, blood flow. Help it to cleanse. And then coming back to center and bringing your right knee back in. And you might just give it a little squeeze and then change legs. So left leg comes in, right leg extends out. Relaxing shoulders, relaxing spine. Again, no forcing of that knee. Let it just fall with gravity rather than force. And then activating through right side, so point the right toes back. Switch on the belly. Take right hand to right hip. Take a big breath in, fill up chest, rib cage, belly with breath. And as you exhale, start to open the left knee all the way out. Right leg is active. Again, you might stay with the knee bent, the hand where it is, or you might take the hand to the outer side of the foot or your two peace fingers to the left big toe. You might keep that bend in the knee, or you might just start to open out. Just a little. Find a stretch that works for you. Might not even be the same as the other side. Right side stays glued to the ground. And then softening back into left knee. Bringing it back into center. Changing hands, right hand to left knee or shin. Left arm extends out. Take a big breath in. And take that twist to the right. Guide the leg across the body. Roll of the head maybe to the left. Soft with that grip. No forcing of right hand to left thigh. Softness here. And this time just feeling into that space around the heart. The anahata, the heart chakra. And as we find that opening there, you might take a moment just to connect to it. Whether that's for you just noticing or being aware of the physical beating heart. Or perhaps a little deeper, perhaps connecting to that emotional space there, the emotional heart. Perhaps sending your warmth there, or your breath. And then coming back to center. Give your left leg a little hug, a little squeeze. And then bring your right knee in too. Maybe you squeeze back into that tight little ball. Hug the body tight. And then take your right hand to right knee, left hand to left knee. And as if you're drawing two separate circles towards the sky, we're just going to circle out with the knees. You'll notice this corresponding circle now through the hips as well, this tilt of the pelvis forwards and back. And you're just going at a pace that feels natural to you for now, quite easy. And then slowly, we're going to start to find a little bit more of a slower circle. So gradually we slow these circles down. Again, just finding that programming of the body, almost programming it to move a little bit slower. So eventually we just get used to this slowness, these slower circles. Really starting to slow them down again, perhaps even slower. Hardly even moving. Feel into each sensation, every micro movement. What does your hip start to tell you here? And then pausing and taking those circles in the other direction. So again, it might be at a pace that feels more comfortable, more natural. That will be different for everyone as well. And then see if you can find slower, even slower movements. Slowing down of the body, that letting go, releasing. Again, just thinking back as we take these circles into the hips, that releasing of any stagnant energy there, tension. We can hold physical and mental tension within the hips, letting it go, taking off that load almost. And then when you're ready, completely stopping and finding a place to rest in your Shavasana. So you might extend the legs out long and let your arms rest down by your side or somewhere over the body. If you've got a blanket or any jumpers or socks, if you think you might get cold and they're close by, just lay them over you or under you. Just let your body rest. And lying on your back might not even feel comfortable. You might lie on your side, you might lie on your belly. So just finding a place that you can rest in comfortably for the final part of your practice. Just allowing everything to settle. Almost as if the ground is rising up to meet you, support you, and you can rest into that support. Knowing that it's safe to do so. We've created this safe space for our bodies on our mat, and it's safe just to let go here. Without opening your eyes, you might start to bring awareness back into the physical body. And just continue to check in there. I just wanted to read a short passage. There's some words that I read recently and they really stuck with me, and it's by somebody called Kitty O'Meara. And the people stayed home and read books and listened and rested and exercised and made art and played games and learned new ways of being and were still and listened more deeply. Some meditated, some prayed, some danced, some met their shadows. And the people began to think differently. The people healed. And in the absence of people living in ignorant, dangerous, mindless, and heartless ways, the earth began to heal. And when the danger passed and the people joined together again, they grieved their losses and made new choices and dreamed new images and created new ways to live and heal the earth fully, as they also had been healed. You might let those words sink in. You might just let them pass you by. You might start to bring your attention back now to your senses, what you can feel outside the body. You might be aware of the space around you and start to stretch in any way, just to reach out and feel into that space, bringing your awareness back. Take any stretches here that you need, big or small, and we're going to roll onto one side or find our way back to seated, slowly, mindfully, perhaps even with eyes closed. And as you get back to seated, you might come back to your intention that you may have set for your practice, or you might just notice how you're feeling energy-wise, body-wise, mood-wise, and any positive sensations that might show here. We're going to hold them at the heart back to either Anjali Mudra or that softer Apana Mudra, gap between hands, fingers. Let your head bow towards your heart. Namaste, everybody. Thank you. Thank you for joining. And I hope you have a great weekend and make use of all of these amazing free classes at Trika. Thank you so much. Bye.